Don't you think we might try somewhere else for a change, Victoria?
No, dear. If one wants to dispose of rubbish, one must go to a rubbish dump.
Oh.
Oh, dear.
I'm sorry, Victoria.
Indeed, you should be. You might have damaged the lamp.
Is it all right?
Yes, just a scratch, poor dear.
I'll get my paintbrush and touch it up a bit.
I think it can manage until we get back. Oh, dear. I'm afraid our salesman is getting cold.
I don't think he can get any colder than he is already, Victoria.
Now, Albert, people like us, of good breeding, mustn't be disrespectful of the dead, even salesmen.
He went very peacefully, didn't he?
Yes, quite a change from the others.
Well, the motion then concerns the removal of the monument in Tompkins Park. All in favour?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Harpington?
all I want to say is that I think the motion deserves more debate.
Oh, nonsense.
But I thought that most of us had agreed the monument was nothing more than a roost for pigeons.
It's a disgrace. Should have been replaced years ago.
Yes.
But the fact remains that that statue has stood in Tompkins Park for over 200 years. It's a part of borough history.
But why can't I go in? I'm a taxpayer in Mornley, and I have a perfect right to attend any council meeting I choose.
I'm afraid the public gallery is closed until further notice, Miss.
On whose orders?
Chairman of the council, Mr. Norton.
So, Mr. Harpington, how many people now? Cromwell's horses.
1 in 100, I should think.
Still, there is a section of our community who wants to see such landmarks preserved.
Well, if you're talking about this so-called committee to save Mornley's beauty spots, I think we're all well aware of its existence.
But I have a petition to present. A petition from the Committee to Save Mornley's Beauty Spots. We demand to be heard.
You've already been heard, miss. At least your committee has, and quite audibly. That is why the public is barred from the council meetings. But they deserve to be heard, Mr. Chairman. I mean, all these building projects, the sodium lighting in our streets, these modern lamp standards we voted in. Well, they are changing the character of our borough somewhat.
Oh, rubbish. Get on with the vote.
No, Mr. Jarvis. I think Mr. Harpington has raised a ghost that ought to be laid once and for all.
I don't think it's a ghost at all. Mornley's always been known as a quiet, peaceful, picturesque little borough. Old-fashioned maybe, but the sort of place a man can raise a family in without any worries. A place old people can live out their days in peace and quiet. I'm sorry, miss, but Mr. Norton has given me specific instructions.
Mr. Norton, who's this little Napoleon who thinks he can turn the borough into a suburban honky-tonk?
Mr. Norton is a fine man. Anyway, you can't go in.
Let's put the motion to the vote.
Very well. All members in favour of replacing the Tompkins Park monument to the men of Mornley who watered Cromwell's horses, raise their hands. Opposed? Well, the motion carried.
I move adjournment.
I second that.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned until next week.
How do you do, Miss Jarvis?
Hello, Mr. Gold. Is the meeting over?
You were magnificent, Jack. Had the whole council practically eating out of your hand.
Yeah, well, I wasn't trying to. I was just presenting the facts.
Yes, that helped too. Oh, hello, darling. Just get here.
No, I've been here some time, Father. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Ruth.
You should have come in. You missed a fine debate.
Somehow, debates on the architecture and drainage system of Mornley don't interest me, Father. Besides, Jack can tell me all about it in the car.
Oh, you two going out?
Yes, Jack promised to show me his new flat.
Oh, I didn't know you were moving, Jack. Where are you going?
Assassin Mews.
That's rather an odd name.
I'm afraid I wasn't very successful.
Mary, we already know you didn't present the petition. Mr. Harpington drove over straight after the meeting.
If I'd known you were outside, Miss Clark, I would have demanded that you be given the opportunity to present it. Not that it would have done much good.
Well, how did the voting for the monument go?
I was the only one who voted against its removal.
Isn't there anything we can do to stop these outrages?
Oh, I'm just a voice in the wilderness. Fred Jarvis has the council sewn up.
Jarvis? But I thought the chairman's name was Norton.
Jarvis is vice chairman, and his daughter apparently is keen on Norton, and she can get her father to do anything she says.
Well, Jarvis and Norton are only 2 votes. There are 23 people on the council.
Jarvis controls most of them.
How?
Jarvis Electrical Supply Company employs more people in Mornley than any other single business. And Jarvis Electrical Supply is Fred Jarvis.
You mean he uses his position to influence the votes?
Well, some of the council members have to do business with him. Let's just say they find it politic not to vote against him too often.
But there must be women in the council, housewives and nurses. Well, surely they're not afraid of Jarvis.
No. But I'm afraid, like all the members of your sex, they have a weakness for a man with a great deal of charm. And that's Jack Norton.
So sorry we're late. My brother and I had to dispose of some personal business.
Dispose is right.
Albert.
You haven't missed much, Miss Potts. We were just discussing the new chairman of the council.
We must do something.
All we can do is to keep on writing letters to the papers and hope for the best.
But that's what this committee has been doing ever since it was founded. And where has it got us?
We have no other means of protest, I'm afraid. Policy is decided by the council.
We must organize a demonstration.
I really don't think it would do much good, my dear. Do you?
Well, it doesn't appear to have done as much good up to the moment.
We agree with you, Miss Clark. It's all very well and good to talk about it, but action is what is needed if we're to stop the rot that set in when Queen Victoria died.
You see, my sister and I, we believe in action, too. Direct action.
I'm afraid we're the only 3 on the committee who do.
I'm so glad we found a kindred spirit, Miss Clark. It's so rare to meet a sensible person these days.
Most of the sensible people in this country were killed off in the Boer War.
I'm afraid that was a little before my time.
Oh, then you don't know what you've missed.
Now, if the 3 of us could put our heads together, we might think of a good plan of action against the council. Could you come back with us for tea, Miss Clark?
Well,
Oh, please, Miss Clark, do.
Well, thank you very much.
My brother and I would love to show you our Mornley, the part of the borough we live in. We consider it our fortress.
Your fortress?
The last outpost against those who would destroy Mornley. The bastion of the old world. The last
Albert, dear, I am sure Miss Clark will be able to see that for herself.
Oh, it is a pretty mews. One of the nicest I think I've seen in Mornley.
My brother and I have lived here all our lives. In fact, we were born here.
Say, I wonder who that carriage belongs to.
I don't know. Perhaps a person who rented the house. One of our neighbors left a few weeks ago.
And good riddance, too. Defacing the house with wires on the roof.
Wires?
Yes, coils of some sort. We complained, of course, but he said he needed them up there so that he could get pictures on that weird contraption he has inside the house.
Oh, you mean a television set?
Infernal machine, I call it.
I see you've got a gas lamp. Does it work?
Yes, a man comes to light it every evening.
Oh, good. I rather like gas lamps.
Albert and I have a special soft spot for this one. We used to play around it as children. More than anything else, it's a symbol of the many happy years we spent in assassin Mews.
Needs a little touching up, though. I accidentally scratched it this morning with a salesman.
A salesman?
Albert means his walking stick. He calls it a salesman because that's what he uses to drive away the peddlers who come to our door.
Oh, I see.
You know, there used to be a gallows here, right on the spot where this lamp now stands.
That was in the old days, of course. Highwaymen used to lurk here and pounce on passers-by.
Oh, I suppose that's why they call it Assassin Mews.
I do hope the person who has taken the place is like us. It would be dreadful if he didn't respect the traditions of the Mews.
Well, what do you think of it?
Oh, Jack, it's lovely. When do you move in?
Day after tomorrow, I hope. I'm going to get my housekeeper, Mrs. Darling, over from the other flat to clean up this mess the decorators have left, then I can settle in.
Don't bother about your housekeeper. Let me do it.
What, the cleaning?
Yes. Oh, I admit I've never done a day's housework in my life, but it might be fun.
We're going out to dinner.
I've got an idea. Let's get some food in and eat right here.
Oh, there's no cooker.
Jack Norton, are you telling me you're afraid to be under the same roof as me?
Oh, no, of course not, but I've ordered dinner.
All right, I'll cook for you some other time.
Yes, all right. Shall we go?
You've noticed that gas lamp there before?
No. Are there any other gas lamps still operating in Mornley?
No. This is the only one left in the old borough. And I'm the last of the old lamplighters.
What are your other duties for the council?
I ain't got no other duties. I'm the borough lamplighter.
Do you mean to say the council pay you a full salary just to look after this one lamp?
Yeah. Cushy job, ain't it? Ta-ra. Here, don't go spreading it around what I told you, will you? With them talking about economy drives all the time, I wouldn't want them knobs up on the council to find out about me. See what I mean?
I wouldn't say he was exactly overstrained from too much work, would you?
It's ridiculous, a waste of public money. Keeping a man on the council payroll just to keep that bit of old junk going?
Well, it is picturesque.
Picturesque, my foot. It's as ugly as the age it sprang from. And what's more, it doesn't give enough light for an alley cat to find its way home. That lamp must go.
Another piece of bread and butter, Miss Clark.
No, really, thank you.
Won't you have a cake?
I couldn't.
Albert, dear, it's getting dark. I think perhaps you ought to light another lamp.
Yes, certainly, Victoria, dear.
Has there been a power failure?
A power failure, my dear?
With the electricity?
Oh, we don't have electricity in this house.
Well, then how do you manage without it?
Well, the same way our father and grandfather did, before these newfangled gadgets started corrupting a respectable life.
All these changes in the world, Miss Clark, they've so destroyed gracious living. Now, how often is one able to come into a home like this nowadays?
Not often.
Albert and I had the happiest of childhoods here. This room is exactly as it was 60 years ago, perhaps longer than that. I wish we could say the same for the outside world.
It's those damned salesmen.
Albert, please do try and remember how young Miss Clark is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. I'm quite used to hearing that sort of language at the school where I teach.
Oh, so you're a school teacher, my dear. Such a respectable profession for a young lady without means.
Oh, even young ladies with means take it up nowadays. I must admit I admire you and your brother. I don't know how you manage. I don't think I could.
We have everything we need. What more would we want?
And when a thing needs repairing, Albert does it here. He's such a mechanical wizard, my baby brother.
I do wish you'd get it into your head, Victoria, that I'm a grown man now.
I know, dear. How time flies. Albert is something of an inventor, you know, Miss Clark.
Oh, is he?
Oh, yes. He invents all sorts of wonderful things to make this world a happier place to live in.
But someone has always stolen my designs and had them patented first. Do you remember the wrinkle-proof opera cape, Victoria?
Indeed I do. They always suppressed his designs and sent out their salesmen with their terrible gadgets and contraptions of their own.
Neither of you seem to be very fond of salesmen.
If we're going to save Mornley, fight the salesman, we say.
Selling is a perfectly legal profession.
Albert, perhaps Miss Clark has ideas of her own upon how to forestall all these changes.
As a matter of fact, I do. I think that we must organize public support by demonstrating peacefully against the council.
Mary, isn't Assassin Mews the place where those old recluses live? Victoria and Albert Potts?
Yes, I told you so. Why?
Remember the gas lamp you mentioned? Looks like it isn't long for this world.
What are you talking about? The famous gas lamp in Assassin Mews is to be replaced with an electric lamp standard. In announcing the decision, Jack C. Norton, chairman of Mornley Borough Council, said the expense of maintaining the gas lamp was no longer justified, and an electric lamp would give far better lighting to the Mews.
Mr. Norton doesn't give a damn about anything. Here, where are you going?
I'm off to see the Pottses. You tell the headmaster I shall be late.
Why, how do I explain a teacher playing hooky from school?
That's your problem.
Albert! Albert!
What is it, Victoria?
It's another vacuum cleaner salesman.
What? Just a minute while I get things ready.
He's at the door.
All right. Just give me a second. All right, you can let him in now.
Good day, madam. This is the Jingomatic Q412 all-purpose miracle vacuum cleaner. The only vacuum cleaner on the market which is guaranteed to make your carpets shine. It beats, sweeps, cleans, dusts, demists, defrosts, sprays, and shampoos your carpets. And if you give it a little encouragement, it might even wash the dishes for you.
How nice.
It is the only vacuum cleaner with a built-in electronic brain, which snips out hidden dust, sounds the alarm, arrests it, tries it, and jails it, in this special guaranteed to last for a lifetime disposal bag made of ware-like iron cloth, specially woven by the native craftsmen in the Philippine Islands.
Isn't that where the burlap bags come from?
Oh, good day, sir. It's a pleasure to deal with a customer who knows his onions. You're quite right, sir. It is the same place, but one of the islands is now devoted exclusively to the manufacture of burlap bags just for us.
I see.
And that's what you get when you buy the Jingomatic Q412 all-purpose miracle vacuum cleaner, the only vacuum cleaner on the market, which is so fully automatic that it need be operated by one person only.
How very convenient.
And now let me tell you about the Q412's supersonic, jet-powered, foolproof Clancy 8x10 motor. Now, sir, you look like a man who knows what a good motor should be.
Well,
Now, I'm sure you appreciate the precision and power which go into the engines which lift our rockets to the moon. Now, I wouldn't dream of telling you that these are the same motors which go into the Jingomatic Q412. I mean, a man in my position has to be most careful, the Military Secrets Act and all that.
I understand about military
But, of course, I don't mind telling you that the president of the Jingomatic Q412 vacuum cleaner company and one of our leading rocket manufacturers occasionally use the same washroom.
Really?
I'll say no more, except that not only is the Jingomatic Q412 one of the most powerful motors on the market, it is so silent, madam, so silent that the manufacturers have had to add deliberately a loud noise so that you'll know when it's switched on.
How terribly thoughtful of them.
Yes, well, there's no point in my just telling you about it. I'm sure you're just dying to see this miracle of engineering precision in action.
Oh, yes. We'd like a demonstration, wouldn't we, Albert?
Yes, indeed. Look, just plug in there.
Yes, that's right, sir. Now, that's what I call a really handy socket, sir. Yes, sir, and madam, just wait till I start putting the Jingomatic Q412 through its tricks. You'll see real fireworks.
Albert, I think the salesman has finished his demonstration.
Yes, I think he has. It's Miss Clark. We'd better pretend we're not at home.
No, it wouldn't be polite. Get him in the kitchen, quick. Albert.
It's all right. You can open the door now.
Hello, Miss Potts. Hello, Mr. Potts.
Hello, Miss Clark. I thought you'd be teaching in school at this hour.
Well, I had to see you both. You know they're going to take away the gas lamp in the Mews.
What?
Our gas lamp?
Yes, it was in this morning's newspaper. Norton is going to replace it for economy's sake by an electric one.
An electric one?
But they can't. It's ours. It's part of us.
It belongs to the Borough Council, and they can do whatever they please with it unless we stop them. And that means stopping this man Norton.
I was willing to overlook him because he wasn't a salesman. But now...
So you agree with me?
Agree with you?
Well, this is the last gas lamp in the borough. It means something. If we let Norton get away with this, it'll be that much harder to stop anything else he does.
I can't believe it. Our lamp.
Don't worry, Victoria. We won't let it happen. You must forgive us, Miss Clark, but this has been a great blow. It'll take us some time to collect our thoughts.
Have you seen one of these?
Oh, save the lamp in Assassin Mews. Stop the wanton desecration of our borough. Stand and fight now. Rally and dance tonight at the meeting rooms of the Committee to Save Mornley's Beauty Spots. It's just the usual cranks letting off steam.
They're not just letting off steam this time, Jack. They're organising support all over the borough.
Well, it won't do them any good. Nobody's interested in them.
I wish I could be sure of that. I'm in business, Jack, and I don't like just standing by doing nothing while people hurl charges at me. This committee's not only screaming for your blood, they're screaming for mine.
Well, it'll blow over.
I'd like to know just how far they're really capable of going.
Well, why don't you go to this dance that they're throwing and meet some of them?
My face is too well known in Mornley. And from what they're supposedly saying about me, it'd be like walking into a lion's den.
Well, all right then. I'll go along and scout around.
Well,
excuse me, I'm sorry.
Well, I'll go and keep them. All right.
I wonder if you could help me. Is Mr. Harpington of the Borough Council here tonight?
No, I'm afraid he's not. Are you a friend of his?
No. I know him by reputation, that's all. I was wondering what all this was about.
Oh, it's a fundraising dance. You know that the Borough Council are trying to get rid of the historic lamp in Assassin Mews.
Vaguely, yes.
You're interested in our cause, Mr.
Hull, Jack Hull.
My name's Mary Clark.
How do you do? Yes, I am interested in your cause, very much so.
Good, because we need all the support we can get. Mornley is being turned into a glorified funfair, and all because of one man, Jack Norton. You've heard of him, of course.
Yeah, well, I've heard one or two things, yes.
Then you'll know he's an unscrupulous opportunist who'll stop at nothing to get his own way.
Shall we dance?
Dance?
I'd like to hear more about this Norton fellow. He sounds very interesting. I do hope we can meet again. I'd like to hear more about this campaign of yours.
Well, you'll always find me at our committee meetings.
No, I'm a bit shy about asking questions at public meetings. I prefer the more personal approach. I mean, in broadening my civic education. Maybe we could have lunch tomorrow and you could tell me more about it.
Oh, I'd love that. Thank you, yes.
Hello? Have a nice time?
Oh, yes. Marvellous.
Get a lift home?
Yes, from Jack Hull. You know, the one with the dark glasses.
Is he nice?
Yes, I think he is rather.
There must be hundreds of horseless carriages like this about, Victoria.
It's the same one, Albert. I'm certain of it.
Miss Clark saw this carriage here last week. She would have recognized it again when she saw it last night.
Miss Clark is young and innocent. Like you, Albert. She would think it was a different one, too. Besides, there was something unusual about that Mr. Hull last night.
It didn't seem very unusual to me. Oh, except for the tinted glasses he was wearing.
Exactly. Tinted glasses, and at night. People usually wear glasses to see better.
Maybe it's a new fashion, Victoria. You know how people are always changing things. Perhaps they're trying to see less these days.
Morning, Miss Potts. Mr. Potts,
Good
there's a
morning.
couple of letters for you.
Oh, thank you. Postman, do you know if there is a Mr. Hull living at this house?
No, all these letters are from Mr. Norton. Jack C. Norton.
But don't you think you might be wrong about this chap Norton? I mean, you never really laid eyes on him, have you?
Well, I don't have to see him. It's easy enough to judge him by his actions. Closing council meetings to the public, tearing down every decent feature of Morley, modernizing indiscriminately, without any thought for taste, tradition, or what people think.
Well, the world can't just stand still.
Well, I'm not against improvements, but I think that they should be in line with the borough's past and its character.
Yeah, but all this fuss over a solitary gas lamp that's no good to anybody at all. I mean, some people have a strange idea that because a thing is old, it must be beautiful.
Whose side are you on, anyway?
Oh, well, your committees, of course. No, I was just trying to be objective and see it from this chap Norton's point of... You don't exactly like him, do you?
I should say not. Now, if there were more people like you on the council...
Why, Mr. Potts.
How do you do?
And Miss Potts. Looks like somebody else worries about you as well, Mary. Worries? About me?
We saw you getting into that carriage last night with that strange man, and we hoped you were all right.
Mr. Hull? Oh, didn't I introduce you to him at the dance?
No, you didn't. That's why my sister and I were worried. You see, those glasses he was wearing.
Oh, he doesn't wear them all the time. He suffers from some sort of eye condition and...
Is that what he told you?
Yes. Oh, lots of people have to wear tinted glasses for that reason.
What does he do, this Mr. Hull? Did you say his name was?
Jack Hull. He's an architect.
Is this Mr. Hull interested in our committee?
Oh, he's on our side, definitely. Although he did have one or two objections about our policy.
Such as?
Well, he didn't think that saving the lamp was such a good idea. But when I explained our point of view, he seemed to agree. Although I must say that all his objections were fair ones.
You know, Victoria, it's pretty clear what this Mr. Norton's up to. He's pretending to be someone else, just to get Miss Clark to stop the committee from saving the lamp. We should have told her then and there who this Mr. Hull really is.
From the look in her eyes, Miss Clark is obviously very fond of him, and I wouldn't like to hurt that sweet child.
Oh, we must do something.
We will, Albert.
Well, why don't we go straight in there and tell Mr. Norton we know what his game is, and that if he doesn't leave both Miss Clark and the lamp alone, we'll expose him.
No, dear. Blackmail is wicked. I think it better for all concerned, including our dear lamp, if we just murdered him. Albert?
Mm-hmm.
I baked a cake for our new neighbor. Shall we deliver it together?
We most certainly shall. I'll get my cap.
I think you'd better put this away. A good cook never gives away her recipes.
No, indeed. Come on.
Mr. Norton?
Yes?
I'm Miss Potts. This is my brother, Mr. Potts.
How are you?
How do you do?
We live at the lower end of the Mews.
Oh, yes?
We know you just moved in here, and as we are going to be neighbors, we'd like to say how welcome you are. I've made this cake for you.
For me?
And a young man like Mr. Norton dead. They might try to discover what had killed him, and they might see the rest of the cake.
Or even if they do. Nobody saw us give it to him.
But our plate is in there, and it has the family crest on it. We'd better get it back.
Oh, Miss Potts, I was just coming to return your plate. The cake was delicious.
You mean you've eaten it already?
Oh, yes, Miss Jarvis and I ate it between us.
Our cake?
Yes, you know, the one you just brought to us. I must say that's the best cake I've tasted in years.
I'm so glad you liked it, Mr. Norton. So glad.
You ate it all? Just the two of you?
Yes, I know it was rather greedy of us, but you must remember, I don't often taste cake like that. Anytime you're baking, I'd love some more of the same.
I'll remember that, Mr. Norton.
Well, thank you very much. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I thought we came here to discuss the campaign for saving the lamp.
I'm ready to make my contribution.
What, by making love to me?
Every little helps.
Oh, Jack, don't be serious.
I can't. I love you.
Oh, but we've only met one another 4 times. We hardly know each other.
Well, you know that my name's Jack and that I'm an architect. You're Mary and you're a school teacher. What else is there?
Well, I mean, I don't know where you come from, who you work for, where you live, what your thoughts are, what your feelings, anything.
Well, does it make any difference where I come from or who I am? I mean, you know me as I am now. If there was something about me that you didn't know, something that didn't quite fit in with your picture of me, would it matter?
It would depend. I mean, if your hobby was bashing old ladies over the head and pinching their rent money, well, I would have thought that I'd made a mistake about you.
Because I deceived you?
No, because I would have thought you incapable of cruelty or even thoughtlessness towards other people.
Oh, I see.
Is that your guilty secret? Bashing old ladies over the head?
Only at weekends. Then only for the rent money.
Good, because I'm rather fond of old people.
Well, so am I. You know, I've just met an old couple, neighbors of mine. Nicest old people you could meet.
Have you seen the alarm clock?
Yes. I'm using it.
Oh, I see. Another gift for Mr. Norton.
Yes, dear.
you spare me a minute, Fred? I'd like to have a word with you.
Jack, I'm glad you've come.
Hello, Ruth.
Hello, Jack.
I was just going to get in touch with you.
Oh?
You know, the more I've thought about this campaign of yours to modernize this borough, Jack, the more convinced I've become that you're absolutely right.
Ah, yes. Now, that's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Morley is living in the 19th century mentally. The people need to be made more modern-minded.
About that, Mr. Jarvis.
I've just had a report from my sales department on the situation in Morley with a new vacuum cleaner we are handling. The Jingomatic Q412. Machine's only been on the market 3 months, and 3 of our salesmen have already quit.
Quit?
Disappeared without a word.
Well, what do you mean, disappeared?
The only thing we can figure out is that they became so fed up with the consumer resistance in the borough, they walked out in disgust.
Huh. What's happened to the vacuum cleaners?
They don't even bother to return them. Of course, we've reported the matter to the police as theft, but I'm sure those salesmen were so frustrated at not being able to sell the blooming things, they chucked them in the river. I say, step up the Make Morley Modern scheme, and to blazes with the committee.
Now, about that committee, Mr. Jarvis, don't you think the council ought to give in a little?
Give in? On what?
Well, about this lamp they're making such a fuss about. Why don't we let it stay the way it is?
But it was your idea to take it out in the first place and put an electric one in.
Yes, I know, but when you think about it, it's such a small thing compared with all the other projects we have in mind.
Small? What about the cost of running it and that man who gets paid just for lighting the thing?
I know, but if we concede on the committee in a thing like this, maybe they won't make so much trouble about other things.
You're wrong there. Give a little and they'll take everything. They'll think all they've got to do in the future is to raise their voice and the council will do anything they want.
I know, but...
No, Jack. We can't budge an inch.
So, you don't agree about the lamp?
Absolutely not. You're not going to back out, are you?
No. I've committed myself to you. If you won't change your mind, I won't either.
What nearly changed your mind, Jack?
I'll see you at the next council meeting.
Are you going my way?
I'm sorry, Ruth. No, I'm not.
Nothing the matter between the two of you, is there, Ruth?
Nothing that can't be mended, Father.
Well, that's all for now. I'll give you the rest after the meeting.
Oh, Mr. Harpington.
Why, Miss Jarvis, what are you doing here?
I thought the general public were welcome at your committee meetings.
Yes, of course. It's such a surprise to see you, of all people, joining us.
Why?
Well, your father and Mr. Norton. You're supposed to be on the other side.
Oh, but I thought our side was joining yours.
What do you mean?
Well, if Mr. Norton can come here, why shouldn't I?
If Mr. Norton ever showed his face in here, he'd be asked to leave immediately.
Oh, perhaps I'm wrong, but I understood he was at your last dance.
I can assure you, Miss Jarvis.
Oh, no, you can't, Mr. Harpington. You weren't at the dance, so you couldn't know he was here.
But I was there, and I would have had him thrown out on sight.
Even if he wore dark glasses and called himself by another name?
Hello, Mary. Mary, what are you doing here?
I couldn't believe it. I had to come here and see for myself.
No, now, Mary, listen to me.
What, and give you another opportunity for you to win me over to your side?
I wasn't trying to win you over. Oh, well, maybe at first I was. Mary, I know I shouldn't have lied to you about myself, but everything that I told you about how I felt, I meant.
You tried to make a fool of me, Mr. Norton, and you succeeded admirably. All right, first round to you. But now you've really got a fight on your hands.
Mary! Mary!
Darling, she was bound to find out sooner or later.
What's all this about?
Oh, Jack, this is Inspector Morgan of Scotland Yard. Mr. Norton, chairman of Morley Council.
Scotland Yard?
You know those salesmen of mine who disappeared?
Yes.
Well, it wasn't sales resistance, thank goodness. They were murdered.
They were what?
All 3 bodies were found in the same place, a garbage dump outside Morley.
They've been electrocuted.
What, now you're vacuum cleaners?
The Jingomatic Q412 is fully guaranteed by the manufacturers against electric shock.
Besides, it's unlikely that a shock from a vacuum cleaner could have killed them. They each got a terrific blast. And what's more, there were no vacuum cleaners found with the bodies.
But I don't understand. Mr. Jarvis told me that they'd all disappeared within a period of 3 months. Well, they can't all have died at the same time, can they?
They didn't. According According to the coroner's autopsy, the deaths were spaced weeks apart. But as they all died in the same way and were found in the same place, we presume they were killed by the same person. We're working on the theory that they all happened to call at the same house.
Well, that means there must be some lunatic about.
Looks like it. And since all your salesmen are freelance, we have no check on the houses they visited. The killer could be anywhere in Mornley. Well, Mr. Jarvis, that's all. Thank you very much.
All right, Inspector. Thanks.
What on earth has this got to do with me, Fred?
Don't you see, Jack? This is all the more reason why we've got to push your plan hard.
Oh, I see. In what way?
Modernize the borough, put in better street lighting. This could be the start of a new crime wave. When this gets into the papers tomorrow, people are going to be worried. Well, we'll show them the council's looking after their interests. Better street lighting and more protection. We'll start with that gas lamp.
The lamp?
Assassin Mews is dangerous with that thing burning in it. We'll call a special meeting of the council tomorrow and get rid of it for good.
Well, no, I suppose you're right. It's got to go sooner or later.
Crikey! 3? What? They found 3 bodies on a garbage dump in Mornley yesterday. Some people will throw anything out. Hey, want to read about it?
No, I'm not interested.
Still thinking about Jack?
I haven't given Mr. Norton a second thought.
Oh, no, only a 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Look, Mary, maybe he was sincere. You know, I reckon he was afraid to tell you who he was because you went on about how you hated Norton so much.
He wasn't afraid to tell me in a lot of subtle little ways how right the council was and how wrong we were about Mornley. I didn't think anything about it at the time, but now that I look back...
Now that you look back, you can turn every sneeze he ever sneezed into a blow for the council. In retrospect, one can exaggerate anything in importance.
No, Ella. He was trying to use me.
Hello? Oh, Mr. Harpington. Yes. Just a minute. It's for you.
Hello, Mr. Harpington. Today? But we won't be able to do anything in time. Can't you do something? Well, what about the council bylaws? It must be illegal. Well, I'll try and get as many people there as possible, but you know they won't let us in. All right, you check the bylaws then. We'll be there.
What's happened?
Jack Norton has called a snap meeting of the council to act on the lamp. He's going to try and bulldoze it through.
Well, what are you going to do?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. No! You cannot go in while the council is in session.
But this meeting concerns every one of us. We demand to be allowed in.
I'm sorry, but those are my orders.
In conclusion, I should like to say, the sooner we get rid of this old bit of junk in Assassin Mews and replace it with an electric light, the safer our streets will be at night.
Well, we'll put the motion to a vote.
Objection, Mr. Chairman. I think we ought to investigate the matter more thoroughly.
Mr. Harpington, this is such a minor matter. It should have been dealt with by the Department of Works years ago.
It may be minor to you, but it's important to a lot of other people. That gas lamp stands as a symbol.
But it's an outmoded one. There's really no point in discussing it any further. Everybody on the council has made up their minds already.
I still demand it be referred to committee for further study.
You can't demand it. This is a matter for the council to decide.
Oh, no, it isn't. Under Section 12, Paragraph 3 of the council bylaws, quote, any member shall have the power to have any vote referred to a special committee for further study for a minimum period of 2 weeks without the council's consent, if said member so deems it necessary, unquote.
I'm afraid he's right.
But this is just a stupid excuse for delaying the matter. You know damn well that lamp will be removed, Harpington. Either now or in 2 weeks' time.
More time to think never hurt anyone.
The matter of the lamp in Assassin Mews is referred to committee for a period of 2 weeks from today, at which time there'll be a vote on it.
The vote on the lamp has been postponed a fortnight.
Thank you very much. You've done very well. So the vote's postponed?
Well, only temporarily. We still have enough to beat them.
You mean Father has enough to beat them?
Your scheme for modernizing Mornley would have been beaten ages ago by that collection of cranks and old maids if it wasn't for Father.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Ruth, the scheme would go through because it's right and necessary, not because of your father. Even if he opposed it, it would still go through.
Do you know, Jack, for a grown-up man, you're terribly naive.
No, well, I'm not too naive to know what you're up to.
Victoria, do you think Miss Clark will summon enough support on the council in 2 weeks?
I think so, dear. But we can't run any chances with our lovely lamp, can we?
No. I'll set to work at once on another little gift for Mr. Norton, eh?
And I'll go and make a nice cup of tea.
Yes.
Well, it may have been small, but at least it was a victory.
2 weeks is such a short time to organize enough support.
You're not going to give up, are you?
And let Jack Norton laugh at me for the rest of his life. I'll see that we get a fair chance next time. If I have to kidnap every member of the council myself. I'll get that.
Oh, if it's anyone for me, tell them I'm out. I've got a date.
Mary, I want to talk to you.
Please go away, Mr. Hull. I've got nothing to say to you.
Will you please stop calling me Mr. Hull? My name is Norton. I mean Jack.
I would appreciate it if you made your mind up elsewhere.
Oh, Mary, please be sensible about this. Well, maybe I did lie to you about my real name.
Maybe.
But believe me, when I told you I loved you, I was not trying to undermine your gas lamp.
I noticed you never stopped trying to convince me that I was wrong.
Well, because I honestly believe that you were wrong and that I was right about the lamp.
And you still believe you're right?
Yes.
Why does it have to be such a matter of principle to get rid of a measly little gas lamp which isn't doing anybody any harm?
Because Mornley needs better street lighting. That's my point of view. Well, why do we have to argue about it? It's an honest difference of opinion.
Honest? What do you know about honesty? You're using crooked politics to push this thing through. If Fred Jarvis didn't back you, that lamp would say what it is.
You know, that's the second time today somebody said that to me, and it's not true. The members of the council vote for my policies because they're right, not because they're afraid of Jarvis.
If he didn't back you, you wouldn't stand a chance, and you know it.
All right. I'll show you the public's on my side. I'll go to the people.
Don't make me laugh. Go to the people. They'd stone you out of the borough.
Oh, that's what you think. All right, you wanted to get me mad? Well, you've done it.
Don't be such a pompous bore.
A pompous? Right, that settles it. I'm going to fight you. I'll fight you, and I'll fight the whole committee to save Mornley's beauty spots. And what's more, I'll win. Oh.
Go on, fight us. That's exactly what we want you to do. It'll give us that much more satisfaction when we win.
You mean when the vote's over, the Mornley Committee will organize a boycott, directed against anyone who voted to get rid of the lamp?
Against every business associated with the plan. They could ruin you. Everyone will forget it was Norton's idea in the first place and blame it all on Jarvis.
But I still can't believe it of Jack. He's always been so straightforward with me.
Has he? Then how does a non-entity like Harpington come to be an expert on the bylaws of the council?
Are you saying Jack put him up to it?
You told me that Jack was surprised when Harpington cited that rule and got the vote postponed. Doesn't it strike you as odd that the chairman of the council wasn't aware that the rule existed?
Well, what was the point of deliberately delaying the vote?
To give that Clark girl time to organize her committee. They're in love with each other and they're trying to arrange it so they both win.
Yes, but even so, what's it going to look like if I withdraw my support from the plan now, after all that's been said?
It'll look as if you're a big enough man to change your mind in the interests of the community. A fair-minded man who believes that even the smallest minorities in Mornley have a right to their say. Think how much good it'll do for Jarvis Electrical Supply.
Well, I mean, why change your mind now, after all this time? Look, Mr. Jarvis, can't we get together and discuss this? Well, you might change your mind back again. But you can't let me down now. Oh, all right. If that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do.
Listen, everyone.
Fred Jarvis has just announced that he's throwing his support to us.
Are you sure?
He held a press conference. He says he now believes we're right about the land.
How many votes does that give us now?
9 altogether. We need 3 more for a simple majority. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's about all we can do for the present.
What's the state of the council now, Mr. Harpington?
We have 11 votes definitely committed to saving the lamp.
Oh, well, that's half the council without the chairman.
Yes, but unfortunately, in the event of a tie, Mr. Norton can break it by casting his vote against us.
Ah, Golf, how did you get on?
Well, I've told the council, sir, unofficially, as you asked me to.
Good. How does it look?
A deadlock, sir. 11 votes for, 11 votes against.
And I've got the deciding vote.
Do you think you can get anyone else to change their vote before tomorrow?
No, I'm afraid not.
Well, we know you've done your best. After all, you have managed to get half the votes.
I wish half were enough.
Well, what happens if the vote ends in deadlock?
Oh, Mr. Norton has the deciding vote.
But supposing he couldn't? Supposing he was... suppose he abstained.
Well, if a motion ends in a tie without the chairman breaking it, it's automatically defeated. I must go now. See if Mr. Harpington's had any last-minute luck. Shall I see you tomorrow at the committee meeting?
If we're not too busy with other things.
Well, I hope you won't be.
Goodbye, Miss
Goodbye.
I have a feeling Mr. Norton will abstain tomorrow. Haven't you, Albert?
Morning, Mrs. Darling.
Oh, morning, Mr. Norton. Your breakfast is just ready.
Good. Any letters?
Oh, I'll fetch them.
Ah, they're still giving a lot of coverage to the meeting. Decision expected in crucial lamp vote today. Chairman may decide.
It's your big day today, isn't it, Mr. Norton?
Well, in some ways, yes, it is. Are you coming? It's open to the public again today.
Oh, I wouldn't miss it for the world. I should think it would be terribly exciting.
Well, aren't they good sports?
Who?
The Potts, that old couple who live at the end of the Mews.
Oh, yes. Those are always doing nice things for you.
Yes, they've asked me to call in before the meeting for a glass of rhubarb wine.
Oh.
He's here. Right. Now listen. Whatever you do, don't touch the front glass. All right, let him in.
Ah, hello.
Hello.
Oh, Miss Potts. Well, how very kind of you to ask me to have a drink before the meeting.
I thought it was now or never.
Quite right.
Is the rhubarb wine ready, Albert?
Yes, my dear, quite ready. Here we are. Allow me.
Rhubarb. How did you guess it was my favorite? Did you make it yourself?
Every drop of it. Please, Mr. Norton, have a glass.
Oh, you must forgive me. That's an old army custom of mine. You never take the glass nearest to you. Well, I think this calls for a toast, don't you? Here's to that lamp, whether it goes or stays.
Oh, well, would you care for a biscuit with your wine? They're very nice indeed, believe me.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers.
Delicious.
What's holding everything up, Gold?
Well, Mr. Norton isn't here yet, sir. I can't understand it. It's most unlikely.
Well, ring his home, man. We're all getting tired of waiting. Hello, Inspector. You were here on official business?
No, I heard there was a debate on street lighting in the borough, so I thought I'd come along as a private citizen and hear it.
Any news of that maniac yet?
No, I'm afraid not.
Oh, well, I hope you find him soon. You never know who might get killed next.
Well, Miss Potts, I must be off.
Oh, Albert has already prepared another glass, Mr. Norton.
Well, I really think I ought to get along to the meeting. I'm going to be late, you know.
May I tempt you?
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Oh, so sorry.
Oh,
Some of
dear.
you. Yeah.
Oh, you'll have to wash your hands. The bathroom is the first door on the left upstairs.
Well, can't I help you to clean
No,
this
no,
up?
thank you. It's quite all right.
I'm very sorry.
Oh, dear. That was very unfortunate.
It's no one's fault, dear. Oh, look at the carpet.
Oh, gracious.
It must have been very strong,
Yes,
dear.
it was very potent.
I'm afraid we shall have to try one of our more direct methods, Albert.
Oh, come on, let's get on with it. What's the delay?
How long do you think we're going to sit here doing nothing?
Till the next election.
Oh, that's better. I am sorry.
Mr. Norton, Albert would like to show you his new electrical gadget.
Well, I must go, you know, the meeting.
Oh, dear. Albert is so sensitive about his inventive ability. Please have a look.
All right.
Excuse me. You're a police inspector, aren't you?
How did you know?
Well, I overheard you talking to Mr. Jarvis in the anteroom. Have you found the man who murdered all those salesmen?
No, I'm afraid not.
Salesman?
Yes, the 3 people who were murdered recently.
Are they all salesmen?
Yes. I showed you the paper. You didn't read it. They were deliberately electrocuted.
Well, what do you think of it?
Well, it's great, great. What is it?
Well, a motor, of course.
Albert built it himself out of spare parts.
Yes, but a motor's supposed to do something. What does this do?
Why, it beats, sweeps, dusts, cleans, demists, defrosts, sprays and shampoos.
I don't believe it.
Do you think the investigation will take long, Inspector?
I hope not. An ordinary killer on the loose is bad enough, but at least he has a reason for killing. A lunatic, he just murders for the sake of it.
Well, haven't you got any clues yet?
No, not yet. It would have helped a lot if we could have found just one of those vacuum cleaners for the bodies.
Vacuum cleaners?
Yes, yes. They went round from door to door selling them, but they haven't found any of the machines.
Vacuum cleaners? They said they had no electricity.
What are you talking about? Vacuum
About?
Miss Potts and her brother were the ones who killed off all those vacuum cleaner salesmen.
What, Victoria and Albert murderers? Why, they wouldn't hurt a fly.
Oh, Albert, you are naughty. How often have I asked you to fix the lock on that cupboard?
Oh, I'll fix it tomorrow, Victoria.
Please, thank you very much. And so, through the efforts of Mrs. Norton, formerly Miss Clark, the chairwoman of the Committee to Save Morley's Beauty Spots, and Mr. Norton, the chairman of Morley Council, a compromise was worked out. A happy compromise which was acceptable to both parties. A compromise which symbolizes the Morley of today. A compromise of tradition and progress. A successful marriage of gas and electricity. And now that Mrs. Norton has officially unveiled the lamp, I think you'll agree it is only fitting that the switch be thrown by the chairman of Morley Council, Mr. Norton.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, confident in the knowledge that this venerable symbol of Morley's past will now shine more brightly than ever on Morley's future, I hereby turn on once again the lamp in Assassin Mews.
Try again. Uncle? Mary! Mary!